This is Matt Coyne, host of The Cheap Seats. Thank you for listening to the following broadcast here on Public House Media.
Hey, this is Jerry Strauss, host of Hollywood Happy Plays here on Public House Media. Thank you for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. And once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Hollywood Happy Plays, where we talk with and about all of your favorite names from the worlds of TV, movies, music, whatever entertains you. We are getting up close and personal with those people right here on HHP. A new show comes out every 2 weeks, so don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Hollywood Happy Place. Thank you again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Man, I am just so nostalgic for the 80s. I'd give anything to step back into my childhood and see Back to the Future in theaters. Listen to Van Halen rocking out on the guitar.
Sam, what are you talking about? You're 19 years old.
Well, for this intro, I'm a 41-year-old man-child, so be quiet.
Okay, so technically I wasn't, by definition, or by state law, technically an 80s kid. Also, I'm not technically, or by state law, allowed within 500 feet of a Krispy Kreme. But I might as well be an 80s kid. Seriously, some of my favorite things in pop culture were popular in the 70s and 80s. Back to the Future, Queen, Rambo, the music, the movies, Mr. T cereal.
Ha! I'm Mr. T. I pity the fool who doesn't love the nutritional sweet taste of Mr. T cereal.
Oh, Mr. T! The previous statement was not an advertisement for Mr. T cereals. The Mr. T Corporation is in no way affiliated with Cinema Stories, Public House Media, or Sam Kirby. Though Sam Kirby has reached out to us 47 times, we refuse to have him on as a spokesperson. If he continues to harass our company, a prosecution and restraining order will be promptly given to the aforementioned Kirby. Seriously though, sometimes I feel like I was born in the wrong time period. Where does that thought come from though? Is it healthy thinking? Why do we value and admonish the art and works of previous generations more than our own? Were times truly better? Do we long for this golden age that never was there to begin with? Maybe we'll answer that question today as we discuss Steven Spielberg's nostalgic blockbuster, Ready Player One. Hit that music, let's go. Guess who's back? Back again. Slim Sammy's back. Tell a movie theater concessions worker to get ready for a bunch of coupons and rewards cards because prices of theaters are too darn expensive and I can't keep up. Oh, yeah, hi, I'm Sam. We were off last week. I was out of town hunting wildebeest with my cousin Kip. It's a long story, but here we are, folks. My name is Sam Kirby. I am with the one and the only Public House Media, and this is the latest episode of Cinema Stories, Cinema Stories, Cinema Stories, where we talk all about the latest movie and TV news and reviews. Check out the phmedia.com and the brand spanking new Public House Media store. Get your Cinema Stories gear. Get my name on some socks. Everyone needs socks. Does everyone need socks with the Cinema Stories logo on it? Probably not, but for my sake, yes you do. Go do it. Seriously, they have some pretty sweet stuff there. Check it out. Remember to please download, share, play Cinema Stories on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. I am on my way to 1,000 downloads. I'm kind of the dark horse in the race to be the next show on Public House Media to get to 1,000 downloads. I'm planning something pretty sweet for when we do pass 1,000. So if you could please download, I would appreciate it so much. Oh my god. So let's not wait anymore.
Because waiting is super lame and not rad at all. Let's pull up in the DeLorean, eat some Mr. T cereal, and talk about the visual insanity of Ready Player One. Now, I think that anyone, me, you, a fictional spokesperson for Mr. T cereals, anyone can review a movie by analyzing 5 key aspects of filmmaking: plot, direction and cinematography, character, and performance. The plot of Ready Player One follows protagonist Wade Watts, how's that alliteration for you, in the year of 2045. The world is a pretty awful place, so James Halliday, tech wizard and 80s fanatic, created a simulation game called The Oasis. In The Oasis, players can do whatever they want: race, fight, collect money, and knowledge. It becomes the world's biggest amenity, but everything changes when Halliday suddenly passes away. He sets forth a competition of sorts to collect 3 secret Easter eggs to own the Oasis and get paid $500 billion. Players and sinister companies have attempted to find the eggs for years. It's up to Wade and his friends to find the eggs, defeat the evil IOI company, and escape Wade's horrible life situation. This film is enjoyable. The plot is nothing too special.
Hey, look, everyone! He said the movie sucks! Sam hates movies! Why be on cinema stories if you hate movies?
The film is your basic action-adventure story. You have your nerdy character, he makes friends, faces challenges, so on and so forth, he falls in love. From what I hear, and I'm no expert, but the source material, the book of the same name, is nothing too special. The story isn't strong in the book, favoring 80s references to character development. So it makes sense that Spielberg just copy and pasted his usual action formula. It's worked for him in the past. It's not bad, it's just a bit predictable. Though really neat things could be done with the characters and the story, the film doesn't commit to that. And in a film with such spectacle, that really isn't the point. Let's talk about Spielberg. Steven Spielberg's direction props this film above its generic plot. One of the greatest directors of all time, Spielberg just knows how to film a shot, even in scenes outside of the Oasis, such as a camera panning down, following Wade navigating his home structure. Spielberg shows his mastery of the craft. You know all of the beats that happen, but Spielberg plays the notes right, like one of the final scenes in Halliday's childhood room. So schmaltzy, so eye-rolling on paper, but with Spielberg's direction, I teared up a bit. The action sequences are so intense as well. With the surround sound in one of the first race scenes, I was literally terrified. The giant screen accompanied by the boom, boom, bangs, woof, 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 boom. Those are my sound effects. Thank you very much. I am up for higher industrial light and sound. It was so intense. In action, Spielberg is on his game. During the tender moments, Spielberg is on his game. Though the story is cliche and tired as all get out, Spielberg delicately elevates the material. The cinematography is pretty solid in this film. It must take a ton of work to navigate through an effects-heavy film, but they pull it off. Sometimes it feels like sensory overload with all of the special effects, but it doesn't get too jarring. The characters and performances are all across the board pretty flat. Wade Watts, played by Tye Sheridan, is your average protagonist. He goes through his basic hero's arc. Like, seriously. Spoilers, I guess. His aunt is introduced in one of the first scenes. She has, like, a line of dialogue, and she's killed by the baddies a few scenes later. Never mentioned again. Now, these deep, dark character moments should have weight and be sobering for the audience. Look at the original Star Wars. You spend time with Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. You understand all of the characters, including Luke's relation to them, so once they're killed off, you feel it in the gut. All of the character stuff with weight doesn't feel natural, but obligatory. His female friend, played by Olivia Cooke, the super bad A. Artemis, is again just a bit of a cardboard cutout. Like, they could have done some interesting stuff. Like, maybe she is a 300-pound person who lives in their parents' basement. That could have lent some really interesting ideas for the film. Instead, she's drop-dead gorgeous. She is very pretty, and I know she has a birthmark and she probably doesn't have the best self-esteem issues, but if anyone called her unattractive, they'd be lying, and they'd be a flat-out jerk. This is going to sound weird and bad. I don't know, stay with me here. This is nothing against conventionally attractive people. I wouldn't know what it's like to be one of those. Or the leads. But the leads seem too pretty for these roles. In the reality of the film, they might not be super in shape, model-looking people, and I'm not generalizing there, maybe they could be, but the film would have been better suited and added a different layer if they weren't conventionally attractive. This would make the connection made through the Oasis more believable and complex. That being said, they are pretty good in the movie. I really enjoyed Ben Mendelsohn in this film as the antagonist. He's a conventional Spielberg suit-wearing bad guy, but he's very likable in that classic villain sort of way. I thought T.J. Miller's character was a nice touch, and I wish we could have seen more of Simon Pegg. Mark Rylance as Halliday is the standout in the flick. He's a very sympathetic character. He seemed to be the most successful person in the history of the world, but at his core, he had issues connecting to others. Thus, him inventing the Oasis is a little more heartbreaking. I also really enjoyed his ambiguity at the end of the film. Though the characters are thin, I enjoyed watching them. The performances are all solid, and Spielberg again elevates them, but there isn't much depth to the characters, unfortunately, besides the character of Halliday. So let's get down to brass tacks. Steven Spielberg returns to the adventure fantasy genre with a respectable hit. Filled with visual flair and familiar Spielberg wonderment, Ready Player One delivers an enjoyable 2-hour distraction. Even though the characters and story don't venture too far out of the box, there is enough in this film to garner a modest recommendation. I'd give Ready Player One 3.4 out of 5. The film has some dazzling sequences, especially one that directly references another movie. I won't spoil too much, here's Johnny. But the other callbacks to different IPs didn't distract me, and that's saying a lot about a film that is filled with them. It's a fun time at the theater, and if you're looking for it, seek it out. I don't know how to say this. Unfortunately, we do not have a segment of feedback for you guys today. Things have been very busy as the school year wraps up, and our new intern, Jeff, who replaced a certain, for lack of a better word, moronically idiotic bum on our show, isn't really pulling his slack around here. Yes. But Sam, what if I have a terrific idea for a segment on the show? What if instead of feedback, we do a segment in which I, Jeff, and yourself talk about the latest Jack White album? We call it Goldblum's Groovy Hour. Well, Jeff, we don't really review music here. The show is called Cinema Stories. Movies, TV, stuff on screens, usually our cup of tea. Well, there you go. Yes, quite. Well, I'm going to need a new fake celebrity intern on the show, so I'll keep you up to date on that. That being said, we move on to the part of the show where we discuss the latest ongoing goings-on in the world of movies and television goings-on. These are today's cinema stories. The first trailer for the new film, The First Purge, has dropped. The trailer teased the same orangey aesthetic, shaky violence, and social commentary a second grader learning the names of the presidents could make. I have to say, I'm not a fan of the franchise. I stopped watching after 2. I thought the plan was to let them die after election year. Who knows? Maybe this one shocks us with deep themes and electrifying action. But as of now, not looking forward to the 4th installment of what should have stopped as a trilogy. According to Variety.com, Tiffany Haddish is set to produce a comedy series named Unsubscribed. Haddish garnered a boatload of attention after 2017's comedy smash, Girls Trip. I personally did not get around to seeing the movie, but I've heard only positive things about it, and that Haddish stole the entire flick. From viewing her bit in the Oscars, she seems genuinely hilarious, energetic, and oozing with charm. We'll see if she can translate that to the screen as a producer. According to Deadline, John Krasinski's breakout horror flick, A Quiet Place, topped the box office this weekend. Starring Krasinski and his wife, Emily Blunt, the premise of the film involves their fictional family living in the woods. Because of dangerous, unearthly creatures, the family must remain as quiet as possible to avoid danger. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about this film. Hopefully I'll make it out to the theater the night that I'm recording this. It's so great to see such talented comedic actors come into their own as horror directors. This year with Krasinski, and last year with Jordan Peele with Get Out. At its core, it's not very surprising. Comedy and horror are all about the timing, and the moments leading up to when you're supposed to hit that certain emotion. I can't wait to see what the two accomplish next. And that will do it for us, folks. Thank you again for listening this week. I really appreciate all the love and support I've gotten with the show. The show is growing fast, I think. I'm not really sure how to judge it. I think it is, though. Please keep on downloading, keep on playing it, keep on sharing it. If you haven't noticed, I really love talking to you guys about movies. I'd love to get over 1,000 downloads within the next few episodes, and when we get there, we're going nuts, nuts, nuts! The Public House Media Store is up right now. You can actually get Cinema Stories gear, which is beyond amazing. Please download and share on Spreaker, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Next time, I will be back with a segment of feedback. So here's my question, yo. We're less than a month away from Infinity War. I am beyond excited for it. I recently did a 45-minute discussion with Jerry Strauss, fellow Public House Media host, on his show, Hollywood Happy Place. Big shout out to Jerry with this one. But yeah, we talked about the MCU. Infinity War comes out the 27th. There's so much speculation as what's going to happen, who will make it out alive, is Thanos secretly Bruce Willis with a goatee? My question to you is, what are you most looking forward to, and who is the most likely to not make it out of the movie? Who's gonna kick that vibranium bucket? So guys, Ready Player One was a fun flick. Spielberg does a solid job of entrenching us in the fun action-adventure genre that he was known for years ago. I think that's a prevalent theme in this movie. At the end of the day, we may feel like we were born in the wrong time period, or that we can only connect to the media of a certain decade like the 80s. But sometimes, we need to take off that Oasis gear. Take some time in the now, the real world, to see that maybe the world of today isn't too dystopian. Later, everyone.